Solvo is a modern facade panel with a chambered structure that is the ideal solution for finishing a facade. Solvo's finely crafted shape and the ability to install the panels horizontally and vertically will create an aesthetically pleasing effect on any wall. The panels come with good quality, durable wood-like veneers with or without a dark joint. Thanks to their chambered structure, the Solvo panels are lightweight, yet rigid, which makes them easy to transport and install. The installation of the panels is also sped up by the pre-made mounting holes and convenient two-piece trims. The shape of the panel is elegant and harmonious, from the edges to the depths of the joints. The high-quality wood veneers will be a great look for any facade. For proper installation, you will need basic tools such as a spirit level, tape measure, square, scissors, hammer, knife, pencil, drill and power tools, such as a drill driver and chop saw. For sawing, a saw blade designed for cutting aluminium will be best. Panels can be cut with a chop saw, circular saw or angle grinder. Depending on the structure on which the installation will be carried out, you will need screws for wood or metal. Detailed installation instructions, available in each package and on the website, will be an indispensable aid. The first step in facade installation is the preparation of the substructure. This is a labor-intensive operation that takes up 70% to 80% of the total installation time. However, a correctly executed substructure guarantees the correct completion of the facade and an excellent end result. The substructure also allows for adequate air circulation between the wall and the facade. For this purpose, the substructure must be installed at a height of at least 50 mm from ground level, with at least 20 mm of space left at the top edge of the wall. The same values should be maintained for the installation of trims and panels. For the substructure, you can use wooden battens or metal profiles. The spacing between the battens or profiles to which the panels will be directly fixed should be a maximum of 40 cm from center to center of the batten or profile. To prepare a wooden frame, use wooden battens, which should be made of good quality wood, not free, impregnated, and with a moisture content of 15 to 17%. The battens should have dimensions of at least 30 by 30 mm. Use 35 mm screws for wood to fix the panels to the wooden substructure. First, install the horizontal battens along the length of the building, spacing them according to the type of insulation used. Then fill the space between the battens with insulating material and place the vapor barrier membrane on top. If you plan to install the panels horizontally, the next step is to install the vertical battens, which will be the base for installing the panels and provide ventilation space between the wall and the panels. Install them at a maximum distance of 40 cm from the center to the center of the batten. If you plan to install the panels vertically, the vertical battens installed on the insulation layer may have a spacing of more than 40 cm, as the horizontal battens, which will serve as a base for the installation of the panels, with a spacing of no more than 40 cm, will be fixed to them. To prepare a metal frame, use metal profiles, e.g., the CD100 with a height of 48 mm or CD60 with a height of 27 mm. When installing horizontally, the preparation of the metal frame starts with the fastening of the fastening hooks, which enable the vertical installation of the metal profiles to the wall with a maximum distance of 40 cm from the center to the center of the profile. Next, apply thermal insulation to the attached hook and puncture it. A vapor barrier membrane is applied to the thermal insulation, and then metal profiles are attached to the fastening hooks, which will serve as a base for installing the panels horizontally and at the same time ensure adequate ventilation between the wall and the panels. The excess hook length should be bent, with the ends slightly entering the insulation so that it adheres properly to the wall. If you plan to install the panels vertically, a layer of profiles laid horizontally with a maximum distance of 40 cm between them must be installed on top of the vertical profiles, which in this case can be spaced more than 40 cm apart. The installation of the Solvo panels is easier thanks to the matching trims. These are mostly two-piece trims, the bottom parts of which are installed before the panels and the top parts are clipped in after. First of all, we have the FS211 starting trim, needed to start the horizontal installation. In vertical installation, it is replaced by the FS261 perforated trim, which allows water running down the panels to be drained. The FS251 universal trim and the FS252N trim have similar functions. Both are used to terminate vertical wall edges. Use them together to finish an inner corner. The FS282 two-piece connector trim is used to connect panels installed horizontally lengthwise. It should be installed on a double batten. Solvo is designed to be used as a finish for a ventilated facade. A ventilated facade requires open airflow between the wall and the facade product, which is why it is necessary to provide an air inlet and outlet from below and above. Ensure that there is at least 50 mm of space between ground level and the bottom edge of the panels, and use an FS262 top ventilation trim at the top edge of the wall. A ventilation gap between the panels and the facade of at least 30 mm, depending on the altitude and latitude, as indicated in detail in the installation instructions, is necessary. The need for adequate expansion joints is related to the expansion and contraction of the panels under the influence of the ambient temperature. The size of the joint depends on the ambient conditions and the temperature during the installation. These values are precisely defined in the installation instructions available on the website. The panel is fixed by screwing the screws into the mounting holes. Try to screw the screws in the middle of the mounting hole and do not tighten them all the way, leaving slack for the panel to move. A so-called fixing point is only used when the panels are installed vertically to stabilize the direction of contraction and expansion due to the ambient temperature. For the fixing point, it is best to choose the second batten from the top or the middle batten. This will prevent the panel from moving uncontrollably. Depending on where on the batten the mounting hole is, the panel can be locked at or between the edges of adjacent mounting holes. For vertical installation, the Solvo panels are fixed to horizontal profiles, or, as in our case, to wooden substructure battens. Before starting the installation of the panels, level and screw in the underside of the vertical trims, and then by the one-piece trim at the bottom level and screw in the ventilation profile and the FS261 perforated trim, which replaces the starting trim in vertical installation. At the top, screw on the underside of the FS262 ventilation trim. Usually, the panels should be installed from left to right. The only exception to this is when an FS251 trim is fitted in an inner corner, in which case the installation on the wall to which the trim is attached begins with the trim. Measure the required length of the panel, remembering to keep a suitable expansion joint in the trims, and cut the first panel to the correct length. Slide the cut panel into the trim, level, and then lock the panel with a screw on the second batten from the top. On the other battens, fasten the screws as standard in the middle of the mounting holes and do not tighten them all the way. Each successive panel is clipped onto the edge of the previous one and screwed in exactly the same way. The last panel often needs trimming. If this is the case, it is cut to the required width. The cut panel is inserted into the edge of the penultimate panel and locked in place on the second batten from the top with a screw in the panel. On the remaining battens, screw in the screws at the cut edge of the panel so that they just hold it, without blocking expansion and contraction. Once the panels have been installed, simply clip in the tops of the two-piece trims. For horizontal installation, the Solvo panels are fixed to vertically laid battens, or, as in this case, to metal substructures. The actual installation of the panels starts with leveling and fixing the underside of the two-piece vertical trims. Then, you can install a perforated profile between them to protect the wall from insects and pests and to ensure proper air circulation, as well as the FS211 starting trim. And, at the top, the underside of the FS262 top ventilation trim. The panels are joined lengthwise using the FS282 connector. Depending on the chosen length of the panels, joining with this trim will be necessary on walls over 3 or 6 meters long. The joint location must be planned before installation, and the connector trim must be installed on a double profile or double batten, depending on the type of substructure. All the trims must be accurately leveled to ensure that the panels are installed correctly. When determining the length to which the panels must be cut, remember to maintain the correct expansion gap in the trims. The panels should be installed from the bottom up. The first panel is hooked into the starting trim. It is very important that the panel can move in the trims. To ensure this, position it more or less in the middle, i.e. with the same expansion gap on both sides. Then fasten the panel with screws. Try to place the screws in the middle of the mounting hole and do not tighten them to allow the panel to move. The panels of the subsequent layer overlap with the preceding panel. Once installed, the panel is rigidly seated and does not drop, making it easy to screw in. Each subsequent panel is installed in the same way. For Solvo, we recommend using color-matched and made-to-measure, flashing-to-finish window and door openings. In order to use it, it is necessary to first install trims and panels around the opening. It is important to cut the trims in such a way that the panels can be installed and water can flow away from the facade surface. Before installing the trims, the inner corner should be additionally protected with waterproof film to prevent the ingress of water. On one wall of the corner, install the FS251 trim. Fix the underside of the FS252 trim to the other wall. Then install the panels. Please note that when installing vertically, on a wall with an FS251 trim, installation begins by sliding the panel into this trim. In horizontal installation, this does not matter. Once the panels are installed, clip in the tops of the trims. An alternative method of finishing an inner corner is to use two FS-2522-piece trims. Once the installation is complete, it is a good idea to spray the finished facade with an anti-static agent and remove any dirt and dust. If necessary, the Solvo panel facade can be cleaned with a detergent solution below 40 degrees Celsius and washed with water after cleaning. Do not use solvents or aggressive or corrosive liquids for cleaning. This video shows general rules and instructions for installation. Carefully read the detailed installation instructions included in the packaging and on the website before starting the installation. Installing the product contrary to the instructions may invalidate the warranty.